going to be an attempt at rigging this creature as concisely as possible. I have some notes in the corner here, which will also be included in the comments, which help to work fast. So here we have this kind of croco lizard creature. You can see here I've got a single subdivide on it. It's an extremely simple low poly model. Um, and I'll just leave that on there for now. And yeah, let's make this work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this from the side and we're going to add an armature. So we'll go to add armature, and if it gives you options because you have add-ons, you want to just select single bone. We got that, and I'm going to bring that up about in the middle of the creature. I'm going to go into object mode, solid view, and I'm going to go straight into edit mode on this. So I'll press Option Z so I can see the bone more clearly. And I'll just scale it up so it's nice and big. I'm also going to rotate it by 180 degrees so that this kind of pointy part points down. And that's really important. So this is really where you want to start for rigging your creature. Now, to go over it, we need to add this bone, which we just did. We need to expand it into a skeleton. We need to set the axis and name our bones properly. And then set up what's called inverse kinematics. So this thing will crumple with its own weight. And you'll see what I mean by that in a moment. So now that we have this first bone set up in place, I keep tweaking it, but that's about right. I'm going to select the little ball at the bottom of it, and I'll press E to extrude and just pop that right where I want the creature's shoulder to be. Base of the neck, put 2 for the neck, bone in for the head, and then we'll have another one coming down here for the jaw. I think I can move that, just the ball of it right there to tweak that a little bit. So that looks good. Now for the back end, we will press E to extrude, put one here, put one for the end of the back. And now I'll extend all the way out to the tip of the tail. I'll select this whole bone, right click, and choose the option subdivide, and subdivide it by a couple iterations. So we've got more flexibility in the tail. So you can see this is going really quickly. Now I'm going to select the 2 little ball joints here, and I'm going to flip around my view to the front and press E to extrude and extrude those out and put them right into kind of the shoulder region. Extrude again for the middle of the leg, one more time, going down. And now looking straight from the side, we can extrude these out. And we want the feet to kind of point down. So I'm going to select those little balls at the heels, press G to grab, lift those up a little bit, and now we're in business. Now you'll notice I only did one side of the limbs, and that's because we're going to do a function later called symmetricizing. So we don't need to worry too much about that yet. Now we're going to add a few little bits and bobs. So I'm going to select select these little joints at the feet right here and press E to extrude. And these are going to be our handles. They're going to be called targets. Then we want some force, which are poles, to have the legs bend the right way. So I'll extrude it one out this way. I'll extrude another that way. And we'll select these and right click and choose the option split. And you can see we can move these a little bit away. There we go. And now I'm going to select the back one and then the front one. I'm going to press spacebar. I'm going to type batch for batch rename. Here in the rename section, I'm going to switch it from objects to bones. I'm going to switch find and replace to just set name. We're going to call these whole. And if we've done it in the right order, well, it looks like it didn't totally reset the name. Let's set that again. So batch rename, set new name, whole, and we'll press OK. And now you can see our front one's just called pole, and our back one's called pole 1. We're going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to right click the back one and then the front one, hit spacebar, batch rename, set name, new name. We're going to call them foot target. Now we got the front one is called foot target. Back one is foot target 1. Now we need one more of these targets, which will be right here. We'll extrude this one straight up so we can see the difference. We'll click on that, and I know we don't need to batch rename it, but it's just one, but whatever. We'll call that tail target. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're going to select all three of these target bones and right click and choose split so they can move around, but we're just going to leave them where they are. And now we need to name a few more things. So we'll grab our feet. Again, I'm doing everything from back to front so that I know my numbers mean the back. We got the active one in the front. So we'll do batch rename again, and we'll rename these to foot. I'm going to select all of these bones going down this way, batch rename them again. We'll call them leg. Got all our leg bones set up. Select these. We'll call them body. Neck. We can also just press F2 to name one thing. Head. Jaw. Almost there. Rename all of these to tail. And then this one, not last but not least, we need to name this guy right here. This one needs to be renamed. This one I'm using F2 to main because that's going to be our main handle. So it looks like our naming is all good. And now when I look at this straight on, I can kind of see like a lot of varying rotation in the bones. You can see they kind of rolled somewhat randomly. So I'm going to press A to select all. I'm going to press Y for the Y axis. Now I'm going to hit spacebar for search. I'm going to type recalculate. And here we have recalculate to view axis. And now you can see those all look nice and straight. So we're ready to go into the pose library. Or actually, right, yeah, we can go in there. But oh yeah, right before we do that, we want to look at this straight from the front again. We're still in X-ray view. We're going to select everything on the left side. We're going to right click, and here's this option names, auto name left, right. And now in .L is added to everything on that side. So leg.L, foot.L, foot target 1.L, foot target.L. It's all there, which is going to help it form the symmetry effect later. So now from edit mode, we're going to press Control Tab, or what's even easier is we'll just hit this drop down and we'll go to pose. Now you can see we're in pose mode, and basically if we rotate a bone, everything in front of it moves. So this will move the whole leg, but this will just move the foot. But we want to set a little bit of basic physics here. So the first thing or basic rigging here, or intelligent rigging. So this will be easier to animate. So you can see right now, if I move the head, the jaw doesn't go with it. So we're going to fix that first. So back in edit mode, I'm going to select the jaw, shift, select the head, Control P, parent object, keep offset. And now if we go back into pose mode, you can see no problem. All right, great. So now we're going to start setting up inverse kinematics. So we'll start with the tail, and you can see this isn't great. This is also not great. We want this to easily move like a tail. So for this beginning of the tail here, we're going to scroll down to this blue icon here, bone constraints. And here we're going to drop that down and we're going to choose the option inverse kinematics. And for our target, we just want to choose, here we have two models, so we have to be careful. We want to choose armature 001. So we'll actually, if we're unsure about it, we can use the dropper, but we do know that that's what we want. We're going to leave the pole target alone, but for the bone, we're going to type target, and there it is, tail target set. So now if I move this handle here, you'll see it bends the whole tail. It also bends the whole creature. Now to get this back to the original position, pose mode actually works kind of like object mode. So I can select this handle and press Option G, and it'll reset it back to its position. So you can see this one picks up the whole model. Option G resets it back to its position. So in order to not move the whole creature, we're going to go here to chain length and click it up a few degrees. And I'm not sure why that just went nuts there. something was rotated in my scene. So to fix that, because I didn't want anything off rotation, I just pressed A and I pressed Option G, Option R to reset everything. So not sure which bone was off, but now the scene is good again. So now we have chain length of 5, and you can see just the tail moves. So we're in business. That's looking good. Now we're going to set inverse kinematics up on the leg. I'm going to set this whole front foot, and then I'm going to copy the settings and kind of correct them. So here we're going to add inverse kinematics, target, armature 1, pole, armature 1, target bone, search for target, and we want foot target L, because foot target L001 is the back one. And then for the pole, we want pole L. And right off the bat, this is kind of crunched our creature around, but that just has to do with chain length. So we'll set that 1, 2, and now we just have like a little bend, which is the force coming from the pole. You'll also notice that the foot is moving to the side. So we'll select this foot here. We'll go into relations in this green bone for bone properties. We'll go down to relations, and we're going to turn off inherent rotation. So that's looking pretty good. Now you can see if we move this handle around, this moves pretty nicely. Now I want this to actually copy its rotation from that handle. So here we're going to add another constraint there. So here's our constraints. We're going to choose the option copy rotation. And I can see that if I rotate it, oh, it's not copying it from anything yet. So target armature 1, bone, same target, target L. Now you can see it flip backwards. So the first thing we want to do is here for the target space, we want to switch it to local space. For the owner, we want to switch it to local space again. The foot isn't forward, but you can see when I rotate it on the Z-axis, it kind of crunches. When I rotate it on the X-axis, that looks okay. When I roll it on the Y, they go in opposite directions. So to correct that, X was okay, so we leave it alone, but Y and Z, we turn on invert. And now that's looking pretty good. So we're going to copy all this stuff to the back leg. So we'll select this back leg, and then we'll shift select the front one, and we'll choose copy to selected. And then we're going to select this foot and shift select the front one and do copy to selected. And everything looks kind of funky now, but that's just because it's using the wrong targets. So for this foot, we will change the target to target 001L. And then for this bone, we'll change the target 001L, and we'll change the pole 001L. And the foot is still sideways because we need to go to the bone properties here again for this one, and also unclick inherent rotation. So now you can see if we lift the whole thing up, legs kind of crunch under its body, looking good. And we can also move the tail, looking good. We can move the leg around, get a little walking animation going on. And that's all just with basic keyframing. We're just going to go over the basic rigging and setting up that rig. Right now, we're not going to actually set an animation up. So now that we've done that, we're going to press Tab, which gets us back to edit mode, or we can actually click to this drop menu, and go there. And here I'm going to press A to select all. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose this option, symmetricize. And you have to be in edit mode to see this. So if you don't see it, it means you're either in object or pose mode. So we'll hit symmetricize, and boom, there they go. We got the legs right across, and you can see the leg says R, the foot target says R. So we're in business. We've got our rig. So now we're going to go to object mode. I'm going to press Option Z to turn off X-ray. I'm going to go into material settings so we can see it. Material view, And now I'm going to go ahead and click my creature first. I'm going to click my bone second. I'm going to press Control P for parent. And I'm going to do parent object with automatic weights. And we'll see how this works. We haven't actually applied our subdivision modifier, so it might not have enough flexibility. So let's see what happens here. So actually, I'll save once here, just in case. And now we'll do it. Control P, armature deform, automatic weights. And now if we take this skeleton and go back into pose mode, our creature It's flexing pretty well. It's looking good. So that looks good. Let's see how the tail works. So the tail looks okay. We can see it bends kind of terribly. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. So here in edit, undo history. Um, we've got make parents. We're going to go right before that to select. So we've undone all that. It's not parented anymore, you can see. So we're going to select our creature now. And here for the subdivide, we're going to hit apply. And now we're going to just parent it again. Automatic weights. And now we'll go back into pose mode for the skeleton. And this looks so far so good. Yeah, much better. Just need more. And we could even probably add more subdivisions to that tail. So if I go back into object mode, select the creature, you can see, oh yeah, the tail is not really cut up much at all. So I'll put 2 loop cuts there, 3 loop cuts there, a few more loop cuts here. They're kind of funny shaped, but that's okay. And now we'll go back to pose mode. And there we get a much better bend to the tail. Okay, great. We could fix those loops, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So one thing that you will notice if we go into object mode is that, I painted this guy with white inner legs, and I can see that the legs are kind of facing back. They've kind of twisted. So this is the last thing we're going to repair. But before that, actually, one more thing is you can see when I move this mesh, creature moves, but not the eyes. So let's take care of those real quick. We're just in object mode. We'll go to normal constraints, add a constraint called child of. We're going to make it a child of armature 001, and the bone will be the head. And the eyes just flew into who knows where. So we'll hit this option, set inverse. And now they're in the right place. It's this one right here, set inverse. We're good. So now you can see this moves with it. So now we can see in pose mode, when we move the head, the jaw goes with it, as do the eyes. And we can also make the jaw open up. And when rotating things, local axes also work. So I'm just using the X-ray mode to toggle those bones so they're visible and then not visible. So here I'll rotate this head on the Z, and then I'll grab the lower jaw. I'll press R to rotate an X, and it's kind of a weird, let's see. So now you can see R, X. It's kind of misaligning, but if we press X again, it's on the local space, and now we got a good eye opening and closing. Our eyebrow looks a little weird with it, but the eyes do follow the head, so that's good. So to fix these twisted legs, we kind of want to just do that manually for each one. We select this little shin bone or whatever it is, wrist bone here. We go back to inverse kinematics, and there's this thing called pole angle. Now I'm going to turn X-ray off so I can see those stripes, but the bone is still selected. And then you can see as I twist that, we can kind of get the bone back into shape. We can also see if we push down that it really changes the way it bends. So now it bends out, which I think is a little more natural for this creature. So now we'll go into X-ray, do the same thing here. Untwist that one. Untwist that one. I don't really know why these get twisted, but pole angle inside the inverse kinematics modifier, that is how you do it. So now this guy can crouch down nice and naturally, twist the tail around, and we can lift up the feet to set up some different walking animations and the like. So there we go, quick rigging.